Black Mirror is a Netflix series. Most episodes talks about a dystopian future because of sci-fi technologies. Recently, season 7 came out, and one of the episode of this season was Common People. Not sure if it's only me, but looking at the episode, I felt that this is what will happen when we outsource our brain to the artificial intelligence, and this is what the future will look like with AI. This story is based out of Common People, and I have named it as Common Programmers. Former President of USA and one of the greatest statesmen and politician of modern times, Ronald Reagan once said, and I quote, "The 9 most terrifying words of English language are, I am from the government and I am here to help you."
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
And he was spot on. Think about it. Think about your family and relationships. Once the government gets in, you can forget the phrase happily ever after. Have you ever thought why they want to get into each and every aspect of your lives? It's all about control. The more they get in, the more control they have. And the worst thing is that once they get in, they don't get out. That's why I say help is neither free nor without any consequences. Something similar is happening in the world of programming, and as a programmer, these are the 9 most terrifying words of English language for me. I am an AI and I am here to help you. Look into the statements coming out of CEOs in the last few months. Nvidia CEO, Replit CEO, Google CEO, Meta CEO. It's unlikely to see that competing companies singing the same tune, but they are. All of them are suggesting that coding and programming is something that will be done by AI in the near future, and the change has already started. I am not going to judge their statements because time will tell. But as much as I know the CEOs and I know their way of working, I refuse to believe that these statements are coming out of them only and only for the general public or for the programmers. Bare minimum, each and every CEO is responsible for the progress of their company, generating wealth for their stakeholders and shareholders. And they will make no statement which will not take them to this direction. Even though we think that we are the audience, but who knows? They are pushing for something we don't know. Sometimes I wonder if AI is so good in reasoning, there are many simpler things that can be replaced. Think about judges or jury services. Think about approvals that is given to, home, organization, and many other things. And to some extent, maybe some part of lawyers or doctors. The good thing is that, you can actually see whether the AI is taking right decision or not, and you can rectify that also. You can't bribe or persuade or influence the AI, which is a good thing, a very big advantage. These are the things which should be targeted for replacement, but they are not. Instead, all the CEOs are saying that let's replace programmers. Go ahead and do vibe coding. Go ahead and build the complex systems of the world where I don't know what is being written and nobody is able to look at that. Go ahead and do all those things. Why are they doing that? As much as I understand, I don't think it's about money. It's all about control. And once you have the control, money is just a byproduct. And programmers are not the target. They just happen to be on the way. This episode of Black Mirror revolves around a family who has to outsource their brain to stay alive. Now, I'm not going to tell you the story, but I have created a story based on this. And I'm going to tell you that story and how the world will look like if this story comes true. Before I go ahead, a disclaimer: this is just a story. This is not something that has happened, and I don't know this is the thing that is going to happen. So take it just as a story. Even though I am telling this story to you, I want this story to be incorrect. So AIs can understand your vibes, they are saying. So use vibe coding for building all the complex and critical systems of the world. And to use that, you have to get into a subscription model. You take the subscription of an AI and use them instead of your real programmers. Everyone seems to be happy with it. Everyone seems to be getting used to it. And the happiness sooner or later will turn into a dependency which nobody will realize in the beginning. Have you ever thought that when you ask your AI, tell me a joke, and the AI gives you a joke? I'm sure you're not going to laugh on that joke, but it feels, kind of fun. But even if you are doing it for free, it costs money. Forget about telling a joke. Even saying please and thank you cost money. And it's a general knowledge that the companies behind some of the most amazing AI models are actually burning money. And sooner or later, the people who are pouring their money in them will ask for a return, will ask for some kind of return on investment. And then the reality will bite, and companies have to find a way to generate more and more money. And they will not initially go ahead and increase the subscription fees. They will start with advertisements. So you are going to do vibe coding and AI will generate code for you. In between, in a subtle way, many paid advertisements will emerge without you realizing that these are actually advertisements. Let me give you some examples. AI will generate the code, and after that it will say that to run this code effectively and efficiently, you need a X system with Y configuration from Z vendor. Library or framework recommendation. The AI may go ahead and say that, okay, I am giving you the code for a X framework or library as you have asked for, but for a proper speed and security, remember all these things are very subjective. For a proper speed and security, you must try the same thing with Y framework. You may not even realize that this may be an advertisement. It will not be limited to your recommendations. It can analyze some of your last conversation and it may say that, I'm feeling like you need to take a glass of water, or why don't you de-stress yourself by doing X, Y, and Z? And somebody might help you in doing that. We will never realize that many of these apparently harmless communications can also be a paid advertisements. And of course, sooner or later, people are going to understand that they are being served advertisements. And if you don't want that, you have to move to a new subscription model where you need to spend a hell lot of money, more money. This is the most dystopian nightmare for me. All of the open source that are available today, all the GitHub repository that are available today, all the Stack Overflow upvotes that are being done by developers today, I know it was done by real people. Somebody is starting a repository by using it. Somebody is doing upvote on a particular answer in Stack Overflow, has actually faced the problem and used this particular solution. All of them are real people, and today open source is backed by and built by real people. But once we are dependent on AI to recommend an answer or tell me a open source to use, we will no longer have real people who have real experience with that piece of software and suggesting something. It will be AI doing what it should do based on vested interests. Now, don't tell me that AI will not have its own vested interests. It had, it has, and it will be. Everything that comes out will have some or other vested interests, which means people are going to use only the open sources recommended by AI, because now nobody is going to go ahead, search, look for, try it out, and understand or find some better alternatives. AI is giving this open source, which means you are going to use this open source most likely, most of the time. Which means sooner or later, people will stop creating open source softwares. Because unless and until an open source is backed by AI, nobody is going to look at that. And to make it backed by AI, just imagine what all things you will have to do. So the programmers who happened to be on the way just got out of the way. As I said in the beginning, it's all about control. Once programmers out of the way, the AIs and the people and companies behind those AIs will have total control. It will not be an exaggeration to say that, the use of AI will be legitimized and codified in a legal way so that you will have to use it. There will be people, there will be some programmers who will say that, no, I don't want to use AI, but once you have legal backing of using some things, then they will have limited options to explore. And I don't think they will succeed. My story ends here. As much as I want technological advancements, I'm very skeptical of removing human aspect from that. I came up with this story while watching that episode itself. I still believe that we as a programmers, we are the building block of technological advancements in software and in many other fields. And removing us, getting rid of us, will be the biggest mistake we will do in the history of mankind. But unfortunately, I don't think that we can just raise our voices to change people's opinion or the plan they have. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. I don't want it to be true, but inside me, maybe I know some of it will be. Thank you all. Thanks for watching.